morning. This is Sky News. Coming up for you, the father of an 11-year-old with Down syndrome will give us his reaction to news of a new, more accurate and safer test for the condition. Do stay with us.
Researchers say a new non-invasive and more accurate test for Down syndrome has been developed, which can also be used earlier on in pregnancy.
The team behind it at King's College London say a study of 1,000 pregnancies found the test can almost certainly detect whether a baby is affected by Downs.
Well, joining us now is Steve Palmer. He's chairman of the support group Parents of Down Syndrome Children. Welcome to you. Indeed, is this a good thing if there's an easier, earlier, non-invasive test for Down syndrome?
I think any new research and new surveys or research that comes out has got to be a good thing. My only concern is that I had a bit of a drop the spoon into the cornflakes bowl moment this morning when I heard it on the radio, because it was rather clinically read out, things like trisomy 21 cfDNA. And I was thinking, if you're a couple and you've just had the diagnosis, what happens then? What are you supposed to do next? And there are some great resources around to help people make informed choices about what's going to happen next.
I mean, what is the current system available to people having children, babies in the NHS? How does the testing work?
Well, I have to say, my son's Stanley is 11, so my experiences are formed by that, and I hope it's better than it was, because we had a doctor who came into the room and just said, your son's got Down syndrome. We found out on the day that he was born. So luckily I didn't have to go through that whole, testing business.
So there's no automatic testing at all?
I'm not sure, but I gather that obviously testing is offered. And actually I spoke to somebody from our group from Barnet in North London earlier, about an hour or two ago. And she was saying she had a 1 in 150 chance of having a child with Down syndrome, and she didn't have a test. What she did was she went and read some magazines and newspapers and met some people with Down syndrome and made an informed choice. And my problem with this type of research, it's not just this research, it's this type of research, is that what happens next? You want to make an informed choice. The offer's open. Come and meet my son, spend 5 minutes with him, and then make your choice, because he can be. He's wonderful. He's fun. He's infuriating, but he's part of a family, and I can't imagine life without him.
I think that's a really important point, isn't it? Because I can remember having had babies not too long ago, that this test does offer something very important, in that at the moment, if you're told there's a high risk, then, as you say, you have the choice about whether to have this second test, which does bring with it a higher risk of miscarriage. So great news that this test could diminish that. But it sounds like for you that's not the most important thing. What is the most important thing is the support parents are given when they're told they do have a high risk.
And there is great support. The Down Syndrome Association's Start It Right, Tell It Right campaign to get midwives trained up to know what to do when a child with Down syndrome is born in their local hospital, or there's an issue in the local medical centre. It's fantastic. And I have to say, sometimes it's the media reporting this. Maybe there wasn't enough time on the radio when I heard it this morning, but it's like it was read out in a rather clinical fashion, and it left, my concern is it left new parents or prospective new parents high and dry. What am I supposed to do? And there are some fantastic resources out there to support people like me.
So from your point of view, what is the breakthrough that you would like to see to give you greater help, if you like?
Well, I suppose actually just more awareness about what it's like to have someone with Down syndrome. I know that sounds a little bit rubbish. I haven't really asked you a question there, but I was talking to my niece recently. She's 16 years old, and I said, what was it like when Stan was born? And she said to me, well, there's always adults running around, and they were upset because a baby had been born. And we just didn't understand why that was the case. I mean, she was possibly 3 at the time, 3 or 4. And I said, well, how do you feel now? She goes, well, I felt exactly the same. And to them, to our family, to our extended family, and to a lot of people, for instance, Stanley in his mainstream primary school, it's quite natural for him to be around and part of our lives. Driving us mad, but we all love him.
Like children everywhere, right?
Steve Palmer, thank you very much. Thank you.